Hey everybody, we're going to be looking at the velocity processor today. This is another one of the MIDI effects. This one is actually something I only use in specific instances, partly because I'm using other tools a lot of the times to really get my MIDI data how I want it. But there is one time that I find myself using this particular effect all the time. And that's whenever I come into an instrument like this marimba, which is a sampled instrument, and the top velocity layer switches to a sample or a sound that I just don't really like that much overall. So let me bypass this for a moment. Or not necessarily that I don't like, but it just doesn't work in a specific instance. So marimba. So it stays with a pretty soft attack all the way up. Soft range, mid-range. And then it switches that really hard attack right at the top of it. So if you're playing on a MIDI keyboard, one that is perhaps maybe not the greatest in terms of its interpretation of your velocity, or if you just find that the instrument is responding in a way that as you're playing, it keeps on switching to that higher velocity range and triggering that sample, which really sounds different than the rest too often, then this is a great time for the velocity processor. So every once in a while, it's just going to hit that higher note. So what I'm doing here is I put on the velocity processor, and let me go back to the default just so you can see what it looks like. So threshold set to 62, ratio 1.750, and makeup is just set to 1. So what I'm going to do is adjust the ratio just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is play the note as hard as I can, so it's at the higher velocity. I'm going to adjust the threshold so that we don't hear it anymore, the loudest sample trigger. Right about there. Now I could adjust the ratio more if I wanted to. So we could pull this down a little bit. And then I just adjust the makeup gain so that it actually pulls it out of that top velocity trigger area. So what this does is, the end result is that we still have velocity sensitivity. So I can still have that beautiful range of dynamics throughout. But it's controlling this top little bit so that it gets up there. It slowly starts to change that amount of velocity that happens over the threshold. And it does it by the ratio. And it pulls it out of that top one, but it still gives us great dynamics. So if you haven't figured it out, this actually is very much like the MIDI version of an audio compressor. Same exact settings, the threshold, the ratio, the makeup gain. And so it actually is a really powerful way to think about your MIDI as if it's audio data in some ways, because we're doing it just like an audio compressor would do this, except it's all before it actually gets to the audio phase. So it's controlling the MIDI data, it's sculpting the MIDI data, and preparing it before it actually triggers the instrument that it's triggering. There are other times you could use this. Say that you're just playing a piano part and you want it to be a little smoother in terms of overall dynamics. You want to keep it in a certain range. This is a great tool for that. For any of your parts that are background parts or harmony parts, and you're performing them and want them to have, again, an overall better slot for where the dynamics are in terms of your mix, this is a great tool to use. It's just a really powerful way to control your MIDI velocity in a non-destructive and a very flexible way that you can actually manipulate as you go later on. It's not written into the data itself. So again, check this one out. It's another great MIDI effect that is very powerful in your toolkit. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you've made it to the end here, definitely consider becoming a patron. There's the link below. Support the channel. Get some great alchemy patches. There's going to be a new one tomorrow, which I will announce in a video and show you what it's all about. But if you become a patron, you get access to all of the ones that are being made 4 times a month. So definitely consider checking that out. And I hope you're having a great week, and I will see you in the next video.